Okay.
Good day, viewers. Thank you very much for watching this show. You are live here on Sahwira SME Hub, which is a portal that brings you ideas from different entrepreneurs dotted around the world. And today it is my pleasure to welcome a special guest in our studio, and his name is David. And David is not a stranger to entrepreneurship. He has over a decade experience of operating his own business. David, welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for the welcome, Charlie.
Thank you very much. Others, how are you feeling this morning?
Pretty good, but a little confused and mixed up as well.
You can say that I'm right here, social distancing in my room in Manchester. Where are you?
Yeah, Manchester too.
You're in Manchester, so we are all Mancunians.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, for the benefit of our viewers, I do understand you have over a decade experience operating your own business. We just want to help our viewers out there. How can somebody who is considering getting into business, what do they need to consider? What should they do? How do they get into business? Just briefly.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's very tempting to come up with an idea and just launch it without doing any proper planning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I suppose, planning the 7 or 8 areas that you need to look at. Looking at your idea, how it fits into the market, checking there is a demand for it, seeing how it can be refined, then checking all the other areas from legal aspects, marketing, really getting a template together and looking at every single area that needs to be checked.
So
and
there
then,
you So I'm just going to cut you there. So there you are, viewers. David is saying before you get into business, here are some of the things that you need to do. You need lots of preparation, planning, and he is mentioning that marketing, so that you understand how the market is behaving in terms of the different products and services for which you might be interested to specialize in. In other words, you need that information to help you understand. You can continue, David.
Yeah, sure. So a business plan, because the business plan may be essential for raising finance, but even if you don't need to raise finance, it's good to have an idea in your own mind. To take a phrase from Investors in People, your plan will not, it won't all go to plan, but it's like sailing a ship, that you're not going to get to where you're hoping without having a destination and a plan as to how you're going to get there. It may take you longer than you plan, or you may have to go a slightly different route, but you need a destination. And of course, you might have everything correct for day one, but you need to know that maybe in years 2 or 3, if you have to take on staff, that will change the structure, the requirements, the planning. And so it's maybe having a 5-year plan. Getting everything right for the start isn't enough. You need to know how things are going to change as your business develops, progresses, and changes.
There you are, viewers. As you can see, David is mentioning that once you plan, this is your roadmap where you set out the milestones. And what I'm getting from David is that it does not necessarily imply that what you are planning is what is going to pan out exactly. He is mentioning the reality of changes along the road. So he is saying you should be able to adapt, identify, ascertain what are the changes and come up with corrective measures. But you are not able now to come up with these corrective measures if you don't have the initial template or the plan in the first instance. And tell us, what is your experience when going through this planning? How easy or difficult is it?
Well, that's a very good question. It's easy to come up with a plan. It's difficult to come up with a well thought out plan.
Right.
But it's getting a balance. To some people, a plan it seems like an obvious idea, and they'll spend the whole time planning and no time actually doing. Whereas other people will have all the passion and the plan sounds boring, and they will go ahead without a plan. It's getting the balance of a reasonably detailed, well thought out plan that you're constantly going to be updating, but getting some action together as well. And you'll find out the plan isn't as boring as it sounds. It's where you can give your passion, purpose, direction, and safety. There'll be all sorts of things you hadn't thought of that will surprise you if you haven't.
Yeah. And what I'm getting from what you have just said so far, it looks like there's so much skills and knowledge required. I mean, you are talking of planning, which is strategy. You are mentioning issues of marketing, product, services. You're also mentioning issues on the legal aspect. Will an individual prospective entrepreneur have all these competencies? Will they have all these skills and knowledge? And if they don't have, how are they going to fill this gap? What are they going to do? Because it looks like this planning requires diverse skills. And will an individual have all these competencies?
That's a superb question, as all your questions are, Charlie. There will be some areas where I would say it's different shades, because there'll be some areas like the legal side where you will need a solicitor. There'll be some areas where your competencies may be sufficient in the short term or even medium term. If you outsource everything at the start, that'll put the costs up. So part of the planning is figuring out what you can do yourself,
right,
with a little help, or what you need total help for. And that will affect the costs. And of course, finance is one of the main areas of planning, so you don't run out of money.
Right. Yeah. So there you are, viewers. Before you invest into any idea, it is very noble that you put up a plan. And what is coming out from my conversation with David is that in most cases, it doesn't turn out that every individual or every entrepreneur will have all the competences that are required. So the advice here is you need to maybe put a list, take a pen and write, what is it that you are good at doing? What competencies do you have? And then you also list on the other side, what is it that is critical for the business, but you don't have the competence? Then you are able now to actually assess, I'm good at this, I'm not good at this. And then those skills that you don't have, you can then consider outsourcing from the market. By outsourcing, it means getting help. Of course, some help might come free of charge, but other help you might have to just pay for it. So this is exactly what we are discussing with David, to say outsourcing is going to help you. Now, as we continue, we are almost halfway through our discussion. Is there any other thing that you would want to advise our viewers when it comes to how to get into business?
Well, I suppose possibly the two main areas are knowing that it's something that you are ready for, right, which is going to mean hard work and commitment, and also whether you've got the right product.
Right.
And a good deal of research needs to be carried out to see if there's a demand for your product. Your products might be unique, in which case, how do you establish demand? Or if it isn't unique, you have to establish, you might have something that is totally ordinary, but you might have an unusual way of getting it to market. So it's a case of seeing whether your proposition will work, or, to be more positive, how your proposition can work, what you need to do to be able to sell it at a price that's competitive and cost effective for you.
Yeah, so there you are, viewers. What I can take from what David is saying is, as an entrepreneur or prospective person seeking to get into business, you need to be clear about your unique selling position or your proposition. what is it that you are proposing to the market that will be unique, that will make you stand out in the crowd? Because remember, in the market, there are so many products and services. Some of them in the exact target market that you are saying, this is my target market. So this is what David is saying. You need to be clear of how you are going to stand out. Either you are unique in the way you are offering that product or service, your packaging, or you are unique in terms of pricing, or you are unique in terms of offering a product variety, or you are unique in terms of accessibility, your branch network. Maybe they are all over. So that can be your unique selling position. So you need to be clear about this. Now let's go on to the last theme. The last theme will be, what lessons can you draw? I know there are so many. What lessons can you draw from running your own business, which you say, having been in business for the past decade, I have learned this, that, and that, and that, which can be some takeaways to our viewers. What have you learned?
Crumbs. That's
Yeah.
that's quite a frightening question.
Yeah. What have you learned? Just pick some keywords.
Okay. Well, it's a case really of looking at what I've done right and what I've done wrong.
Right.
But that's a very personal thing, because some of the things I would have done wrong,
yeah,
some of the people listening would never make that mistake in 1,000 years. And there'll be some things I've done right that I've taken for granted.
Right.
Perhaps the one thing which I know I have done correctly is, as I've worked hard, I have not had any particular gifts in any area, so I've made up for that in hard work.
Right.
Personally, one area where I know I have fallen down, I like to get things just right, which has meant I've not been very good at passing things on to my team.
Okay, delegation.
Yeah, I've got too wrapped up in the detail, which has stopped me expanding my company at a much more successful rate.
Right.
I kind of enjoyed doing it that way, but it's cost the company the opportunity to go perhaps a lot bigger than it might have done.
Right.
So that's probably my main mistake.
So there you are, viewers. Delegation. What I'm getting from David is, because we found our businesses, so the business becomes our baby. So naturally, we have so much control on our business such that we don't want to let it go. So we end up being involved in the operations, in the middle management, and of course, we are the top manager. So what David is saying, there is a need to begin to gradually release that control and begin to delegate and appoint other people. That way, from what David is saying, you can grow your business. And lastly, David, what else?
What else? I think it's getting a very difficult balance between taking enough risks to do what you need to do, but not taking unnecessary risks. It's getting the right balance, and to an extent that is going with your gut, whilst having the framework of the plan there as well. So it's different for every person in every situation.
I got it.
But passion and planning.
Right. Thank you. I'll just stop you there. Thank you very much, David. So there you are. The other lesson is being able to come up with that balance of the risk cost profile. When you are running a business, there is always risk and cost. So what level of risk are you prepared to take? What cost are you prepared to incur? If you strike that balance, you'll be home and dry. Thank you very much for coming to the show, David. And before I say bye-bye, any last words to our viewers?
Good luck. Enjoy the challenge, and I'll keep all my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you very much. So we have come to the end of our conversation, and we just want to encourage you, if you are thinking about getting into business, remember planning is very important. You need to know which product, which service you're going to be offering, your unique selling position, and you need to have contingency plans, because it's not going to pan out exactly the way that you have been doing. So you need those contingency plans. And we have come to the end of this show. Thank you very much, David, once again. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Charlie. Cheers.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
So